Hello, my name is Benjamin Piper, also goes by Golden Bacon. I am here today with Patrick Prudhomme. He is a young Republican from the state of Texas. Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing good. It is great to be on here, Benjamin. I appreciate you reaching out
Yeah.
because, as you know, big things have just happened. And so I'm excited to get into the details.
Of course, of course. Well, happy Veterans Day, but for people who don't know who you are, could you do just a quick introduction?
Absolutely, everyone. My name is Patrick Prudhomme. Some people know me as Real Baby MAGA, and I've been created a following doing political content and political activism for conservatives and for the Republican movement, getting the message out that it's okay to be conservative, especially for Gen Z, the younger population that feels that they have to be woke.
Yeah, we definitely saw that on election night with a very, very big young turnout for the Republican Party. Yeah.
Absolutely. It was surprising. I live in Texas, and in Texas, it the margins were amazing. The margins were amazing, especially for Gen Z men, 18 through 29. We saw them basically break 50-50, which the Democrats, that's a Democrat base that they relied on that they needed and they didn't get.
Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say the same thing. So, what was your reaction to the election results? How were you feeling? Like, did you think Trump was gonna win beforehand?
Listen. I always went in with confidence. It's like when you're watching your favorite football team, you never think they're going to lose. You go in with confidence. So, of course, I went in with confidence. And as the votes came in through the night, I always told people, I said, if Trump is the winner, we're going to know on that night. The
Mhm.
moment that we go off and we start veering into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's when we're going to have trouble. That's when we're going to have to really watch because we know in 2020, we saw what happened in 2020. You went to sleep. Trump was ahead. You woke up, and all of a sudden there was this blue sweep across the nation. And so, watching election night happen, the news media they kept saying the red mirage. That was a word that they loved to use, the red mirage. But the more I sat back, the more I looked at the numbers. Early voting was heavily Republican, and election day vote was also heavily Republican. So the numbers just wasn't adding up for the Democrats. The Kamala Harris campaign, clearly they understood that too. That's why she went home early. So it's when I went in, I had confidence. And as the election results started coming in, I started having even more confidence. You know, I'm actually surprised that he got the 7 for 7. I didn't think that would
Yeah.
happen, but I had absolutely no doubt that President Trump would win the election. I knew it was going to happen, but he won by an even bigger margin than even I expected.
Yeah. Same here because okay, so I had a weird different perspective. I do lean conservative, but the thing is that so I was relying on two major factors. My
Mhm.
If you look at statistics, if you look because I'm a huge numbers guy, if you look at polling errors of the last two elections, Trump was going to sweep this thing. However, since this was such a different election than any other with the stakes so high, it could have gone either way. That's why they were so close. However, I
Mhm.
thought that actually Harris was going to win. My gut feeling was saying that because of Alan Lichtman and his 13 keys. I know a lot
Mhm.
of Republicans are giving him crap about that. I still invite him on the show. But the thing is that he does have a record. He's got 9 out of 10, and you got to respect that. That is just absolute insane record. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, here we go. And you got to look at two different things. So Day County and Alan Lichtman. Day County has predicted the result for Wisconsin what since like I think Bill Clinton days, like 92, and it did
Mhm.
go blue, and I thought that was it. That was Wisconsin's gone. But sure enough, um, it was just huge turnout on the other side. And like you said, Gen Z really carried it over. Women vote, Latinos, this huge uprising that I didn't even think about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, this is what I'll say.
Mm.
You spoke about Alan Lichtman. Alan Lichtman, when the prediction came out, I was scared a little bit because he has
Yeah.
predicted everything
Yeah.
right. I was scared. And then I sat down and I looked at the 13 keys of Alan.
Mm.
Alan Lichtman's 13 keys in this situation, they weren't wrong.
Mm.
Alan Lichtman's bias was wrong. And if you mind, I'd like to look at the 13 keys. Midterm games, that was Trump. No
Yeah.
primary contest he gave to the Democrats, but we have to look. Kamala Harris had no primary contest because Joe Biden dropped out late and the Democrats really didn't want her. So the no primary contest should have went to Trump, but instead it went to the Democrats because of Alan Lichtman's own bias. An
Mm.
incumbent seeking reelection, that was Trump. No third party, that's wrong. Jill Stein, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Chase Oliver made significant gains when you look at Arizona, when you look at Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are just the swing states, but across the board, the third party candidates were getting a lot of the people that normally vote Democrat. They just couldn't vote for Harris. They definitely couldn't vote for Trump. They went third party, and so that really helped the Republicans. So the keys were not wrong.
Yeah.
Alan Lichtman's bias towards Trump was wrong. And that's what we call Trump derangement syndrome, the TDS.
I was just gonna bring that
TDS
up.
affected TDS affected Alan Lichtman's prediction. And so because of that, his reputation is basically out the window. It's gone because not only was he wrong about who's going to win, but Trump won the popular vote and he won the electoral college vote. So the keys necessarily aren't wrong, and I feel bad for Alan Lichtman because of this, but he let his own personal bias get in the way of what the reality of the situation is.
Yeah, I 100% agree because I was looking at him as well, and that's why I wanted to invite him on the show. Actually, 2 weeks before the election, I wanted to ask him like, hey, like some of these keys are a little iffy, like the military success or not, because we all know what happened in Afghanistan, the withdrawal, that was a big deal, and he gave that to the Democrats that they had military success, and I'm like, no, you didn't. Like some of these keys were iffy at best, and then I also wanted to ask him, and I still do. I want to ask him about the economy because the question is, yes, the economy is, I guess, good, but Americans aren't feeling that. And guess who votes? Americans. So,
Americans.
so if they feel that the economy is bad, they're gonna pick the other way, man. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that just explains it perfectly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
oh, continue.
Well, I was just gonna ask you the next question, but if you have anything to add, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
so you're currently based in Texas. So what is your goal in Texas? What are you hoping to accomplish there?
3 words. Keep Texas, Texas. That's the
Oh,
goal, right?
yeah.
We saw it in 2024. The Democrats said, "Oh, we're going to flip Texas."
Hmm.
You're right. You did flip. You flipped it more red. You flipped it more red. So we thank you for that. Even the bluest of counties here elected Republican judges. So we thank the Democrats for helping us flip Texas even more red. We closed that. We expanded that gap that the Democrats wanted to close, and that's the goal. Because I truly believe that once Texas flips, so will the rest of the country. As goes Texas, goes the rest of the world. And so keeping Texas as one of those strong Republican strongholds is mandatory. We saw Trump literally just came out and thanked the state of Texas for how great it was when it came to elections statewide. Florida, people say, well, he won by a lot. He won by a lot, but the Republicans down ballot, they were iffy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the state of Texas, not only did Trump won, but Republicans down the ballot in the state of Texas, they also won. We flipped a lot of seats. We gained a lot in the judicial system here. It was a Republican takeover in the state of Texas.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, one of the biggest races that is still going on to this day, I'm here in Iowa, is Miller Meeks versus Christina Bohannon. And it's a very, very tight race. 99% in, but it's a difference of 600 votes. And there's probably going to be a recount. But in my district, Ashley Hinton still won, know her very well. And the thing is that it was very, very, very controversial because 3 days, just 3 days before the election, the Des Moines Register came out with a prediction that Harris was going to win Iowa by 3 points, which would have thrown everything out the window. And of course, that didn't happen. But I feel like we or somebody in the Republican Party needs to start moving to make Iowa even more Iowa. Yeah.
Right. The polls, once again, they underestimated Republicans.
Mhm.
They did it in 2016. They did it in 2020. They did it in 2022. They did it again in 2024. But by this time, they did it by an even larger margin
Mhm.
because they felt that they were overestimating for Trump in the beginning. So then they started asking more Democrats. And they're like, oh, okay, this. And so what they did is they basically did a 50-50 poll. Let's ask 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans, who are y'all voting for? And then it come down to 5-5, 50-50
Mhm.
race. But
Yeah.
that's not true. Independents, people who
Mhm.
aren't in the polls, things of that nature, they came out in droves and voted for Trump. And
Mhm.
that's why we saw the polls were so off because the American people weren't going to buy into the lies of Kamala Harris, right? She walked around saying she's a black woman. That wasn't true. She walked around saying that she had policy. That wasn't true. She grew up saying that she was in a middle class family. It was not even middle class, it was lower class. And her mother was Indian. her father, the situation there is still rocky. So you had a candidate who was stopped, packed on a bunch of lies. And when people went in to find it, it came up empty. It came up short. So the polls don't mean anything. It's
Mhm.
the media they tried their best for means nothing. It's what the American people saw with their own eyes.
Yeah. And again, going back to Alan Lichtman again, but like one of the things I wanted to ask him was, well, look at Robert F. Kennedy before he dropped out. I mean, he was polling 15%, huge margins.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went over to
Right.
Trump like that. If he got even half of that, like that was game. And that's exactly what we
That wins
saw.
you the election.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge with independents. Yeah. But moving on. So one question people are already asking already is 2026, 2028, because even though we had this huge victory here, we do need to look at 26 for midterms and how we're gonna
Absolutely.
yeah, stay in power. So where do you see the Republican Party in 26 or even 28? Do you think the Republican Party could hold all three branches of government in the future?
So if we want to win in 2026, we got to do what we did now. That's stay united, keep a message, and do what we say. So what's going to happen here is depending on who's in the Senate leadership, we have no more excuses. You control the Supreme Court, you control the Senate, you control the House, you also control the White House. So you have no excuses of why things aren't getting done, why there's no change. So
Right.
everything that you promised in your campaign, now it's time to enact that. You have to enact it. And when you enact it, if it gives the people the results that you said they were going to give them, then we'll be in power for a very long time. If the Republicans get in there and they begin to crumble, they begin to become divided, they begin to have infighting, they begin not to go on the promises of which they say, then we won't see a majority. It'll be gone. Because what the Democrats did was they had infighting, they could secure their promises, they said this, they said that, and they didn't do it. That's why they're in this position that they're in now. So the question is, are we going to repeat what the Democrats did, or are we truly going to do what we say we're going to do? You do that, you'll win in 26, and you can possibly win in 28 by an even larger margin.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to run in 28? Yeah. Who do you think is going to run?
I think the field will be large. I think, of course, JD Vance will be the front runner
I
going
think so
into
too.
it. If Vivek Ramaswamy wants to run, I might run DeSantis, might throw his hat in the race again. I think that the Republicans, we have such a large field of six people for success.
Mm-hmm.
It's a large field of people for success. So no matter who wants to run, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be secure. I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah.
The Democrats, on the other hand, all they really have is Josh Shapiro and Gavin Newsom. And
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom's not really liked outside of California.
Don't pick. If they pick Gavin Newsom, it's game. Like they're done. Like everyone's gonna
Mm-hmm.
go back to his record. It's over. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me. So I actually really wanted Vivek. Vivek was kind of my guy for sure. And I wasn't too sure about JD Vance at the beginning. Gosh, like no one knew who this guy was, and the internet wasn't very
Yeah.
favorable to him with the whole couch allegation. But the the thing is that he has really proven himself. Like I don't care. Yeah,
Yes.
Trump got cornered in the first debate with Kamala and he totally lost. I don't know how you want to put that. He just straight up lost. However, the debate with Tim Walz and JD was JD just swept Tim Walz. There was so many moments where he is so smart and he like knows exactly what he's doing and he can twist words around perfectly. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind
Well,
of how I said.
of course, in the primary, I was on the Trump train. I've been supporting Trump since 2016. I've never thought
Yeah.
about wavering that support. In 2024 primary, I voted for Trump. That's who I went for. Um, again, when JD Vance was the pick, I was iffy because JD Vance used to be a never
Mhm.
Trumper.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Trump won every. I think he beat Biden in the debate. I think he beat Kamala Harris in the debate. I think he won
Okay.
those. Uh, JD Vance was the icing on top when he came in and he completely landslided Tim Walz. I mean, it wasn't even
He did.
close.
He did.
Uh, and I think the election results show that. The election results show that clearly. Clearly, Americans, when they saw Trump and Vance, they were more favorable. They liked their policies. They liked their
Mhm.
plan compared to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Yeah. And one thing that shocks me to this day is that MSNBC and all these different news networks were interviewing the young vote of like who do they pick and why. And you want to know what they said? They said because it was a 5-in-1 package deal. It wasn't just Donald Trump and JD Vance. You got Tulsi Gabbard, you got Elon Musk, you got RFK, you got all these different great people, and it's just like crazy. And some of them, like a huge majority, said like, "Why did you vote for Donald Trump?" Oh, I saw him on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
was just like so shocked and like taken back by this. I'm like, wow, I guess that is really important to do. And I think like for me, I probably wouldn't have voted for Trump if Elon Musk wasn't on the ticket. Honestly, me
Wow.
personally. Yeah. And I'm a huge space
And
nerd and all that stuff.
I believe it. I believe it. We watch what we look at it. A lot of the reasons that Trump got the independent vote like he did was because RFK was on his side, because Tulsi Gabbard was on his side, because Elon Musk was on his side. So when he brought in these independents, these people who wouldn't be Republican, he brought in their following as well, and that's what put him over the top.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus the plus the Joe Biden endorsement. We can't forget the Joe Biden endorsement
Yeah.
too when he put on the Trump hat. We thank
When
him
he
for
put
that.
on the Trump hat. That was beautiful. So, what do you think? So, this has been the craziest election cycle ever and will probably ever be.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think was the most pivotal event in getting Trump reelected over this long election cycle? What was the moment that said, yep, he's winning?
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yep, totally 100% agree.
Butler, Pennsylvania. The man was literally saved by God, and we watched when something like that happens. Normally, that person is chosen, and so I say God saved this man's life for a reason because this man's going to win, and that's when all doubt about who's going to win this election went out of my mind when I saw that. And I think that's what happened with a lot of the nation because they saw this man take a bullet, stand up, and say three words: fight, fight, fight.
Yeah.
And that takes courage, that takes grit, and so and I think a lot of Americans saw that, and that's one of the other main factor keys that Alan Lichtman doesn't have. He doesn't have
Yeah, he doesn't.
surviving assassination attempts in the 13 keys. And so I believe that's what pushed Trump over the top.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree because it was such a pivotal moment for so many people to just see that because and it just the thing is it didn't stop there. There was a second, there was
Mm-hmm.
a third. It just kept going and then all the indictments and all this stuff. He basically turned into a martyr. He literally turned into a
Yeah,
martyr. Like he was inches
yeah.
away from death. No, centimeters. And someone did die. So it was just absolutely incredible what he has done and what he has overcome. Like, because like 95% of people, I would be like, all right, I'm done. Like, no way I
Oh
would
yeah,
continue that.
yeah.
Like, I'm a billionaire. Why would I even do this? Like, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't add up. It
But
doesn't add up.
it shows how much he truly cares for this country, and so the American people thanked him for it.
Yeah. Yeah, we should get you on Piers Morgan. You pretty much said the exact same thing as him. He thought the second Trump got shot that he would win the election, and sure enough, he was right.
Yeah.
So, for you personally, where do you see yourself in the future of politics in the state of Texas?
Absolutely. What I'm doing now, the political activism, I love it. I love it.
Mm,
But of course, further down the line, I'd like to run for office. I'd like to, be in the lawmaking position and making the changes that I talk about.
yeah. Now, would that be you would be the senator, governor, or just House or representatives or president? Gosh.
Honestly, I don't know about president, but I'd have to just look. It's where I feel like I would be more impactful, where I'd be more impactful, more useful, more helpful
Mhm.
to the American people. And that's if I run, right? That's if I run. Maybe I say, you know what? I feel like I'm making a better change here. But that's definitely it's wherever I feel I can make the most change.
Yeah, Patrick 2040.
That would be about right. Yeah.
Yeah, about right, right around there. So, how do you think Republicans can squeeze out more voters in these upcoming elections in the swing states?
Too big to rig. You keep pushing that message, you keep pushing the early voting and election day voting. We won the popular vote by pushing that. You keep pushing that message, you keep getting the young voters out. There are more of us than them, and that clearly was shown. You just got to get the voter turnout by pushing the voter turnout message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Show that there is, or making, because some Republicans feel like it's illegal to vote early. Oh, no, I do the same day. No, no, no. Get out early. Do the early voting. Do election day voting. You have all these opportunities to vote. Do them. Once that message is pushed and once people start doing that, we're good.
Yeah, for sure. And I was a little skeptical because I did do on-day voting because I'm just traditional, but my mom for the first time,
Mm,
she voted early for the first time ever and she was a little skeptical, but she still did it. But one thing was crazy was that I mean, we're using their tactics against them about early and ballot voting, especially in
mhm.
Pennsylvania. I mean, thank God for Scott Pressler. I mean, got all those Amish to vote and Charlie Kirk as
Yeah.
well. Shout out to both of them. They pushed the grounds. They literally said too big to rig, and they meant it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was just absolutely incredible the work they have done. All right.
Absolutely. Scott Pressler did a great job in Pennsylvania, registering people, getting the Amish. Charlie Kirk with his brainwash tour, going to the college
Yeah.
campuses. That was a huge success.
Mhm.
Huge success. And when you go into like the colleges that he went to, you look at their voter turnout in those counties, Trump had a huge increase by margins there. And that's what made every state so close is those Trump was making up for those margins because of people like Scott Pressler, because of people like Charlie Kirk, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who were getting the message out.
Yeah. And it was just truly inspiring to basically they did the impossible. They just straight up did the
Mm-hmm.
impossible. They accomplished what literally no one could. So I was just like taken aback and I'm just so shocked and I'm just like, okay, like screw everything else. We need to start moving on this because this shouldn't be the end of this. Like this is a truly
Mm-hmm.
historical moment. So when Trump
Absolutely.
gets
And I'm,
sworn,
I'm glad to say that I was a part of that history.
yeah. Did you do any touring in Texas or anything like that?
Absolutely. I traveled across the state of Texas, speaking at the Trump rallies, getting people out, getting the message pushed out that what's at stake that what was at stake this election, and how do we win it, which is getting people out to vote. And so I was glad to be part of that process.
Yeah. Did you get to meet any of the people behind the scenes like Trump, Charlie Kirk, or any of these people?
Well, since I've been in it, I've gotten to meet a lot of people.
Mhm.
Trump Jr.,
Okay.
Candace Owens,
Yeah.
representatives. So many represent. I have enough representatives that we could probably start a session with them, right? So I mean,
Okay.
and so I've been able to meet amazing people during the journey, and so.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get some of those people on here as well and just keep the movement going.
Mhm.
So, when Trump gets sworn into office on January 20th, what do you think will be his hardest challenge he'll have to face entering the White House? Because there's already talks about the challenges against him.
Rhinos,
Yeah, yeah,
rhinos, and that's that infighting. That's what's going to make it hard in 26 and 28 if we don't get it together. The rhinos. Mitch McConnell's already cooking up a little plot now for the Senate Majority
yeah,
Leader, right? So rhinos. Rhinos are going to be his biggest challenge, and behind the rhinos is going to be the media twisting and lying about what he's doing.
yeah. I just heard about this morning about the what do they call it? The behind the scenes vote or something like that to try to push different policies so Trump can't be as effective when he gets in office. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on. In the future, would it would would you be interested in working for someone like Charlie Kirk or Scott Pressler?
Um, honestly, it's an up in the air kind of thing. You know, I like the by myself,
Mm,
being able to have a bit more flexibility, especially when there's some parts that me and the other person may not necessarily agree on. And so I believe that it's all about pushing your own message in the way that you want to push it because the Republican Party is a big tent. We don't all think the same. We don't all act the same. And so there may be something that I can project better, but it's a bit different than what Charlie Kirk is saying. And you don't want that conflict of interest. And I like the idea that we have so many influencers that are by themselves, all pushing the same message, but in a different way. So it's bringing in a more variety and a more spectrum of voters.
yeah, I 100% agree. And that's what makes this election was so powerful because yeah, Joe Rogan's completely different from Theo Vaughn and Theo Vaughn's completely different from Charlie Kirk. They're all pushing the same message, but just in a
Mm-hmm.
completely different way.
Different way, yeah.
Yeah. So this is probably one of the most difficult questions I will give you, but I hear this everywhere, especially now. what do you say to people who don't agree with your ideals and believe their lives are in danger from Project 2025?
I tell them that Project 2025 is not real. Look at Agenda
Mhm.
47. Agenda 47 is Trump's agenda. But if a person is so brainwashed to the fact that they think that they're going to be back in chains and back in slavery and that their rights are going to be revoked, let them live in their stupidity. Let them live in their stupidity. The liberal women are doing the 4B movement.
Mhm.
The obese women with the green hair, they said they're not having any more sex. I said nobody wanted to sleep with you in the first place. I think you'll be okay. Uh, but we thank them. We thank them for their service of
Yeah.
allowing, people who should repopulate, let them do their job. So I don't say anything. I like it. I say, you know what? Yes, stay in your house. Don't come
Mhm.
outside. Lay in your bed and cry because I think American society is better without your delusions and TDS syndrome. We're doing just fine. It was those people are why this election was so important, why everything was on the line. And so if they're so delusional, if they're so lost, there's no need to waste your energy, waste your breath on those people. They're lost. And they refuse, if they're that far in, they're going to refuse to believe anything you say. Because if you do, oh, you're in a cult. You're brainwashed. You're voting against your rights. You don't know what you're talking about. They think they're right because CNN said it. Taylor Swift said it. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey told me to vote for Kamala Harris, so you don't know what you're talking about. Well, yeah, that's why Travis Kelsey can't catch a ball now. So I believe that there's no reason to waste my energy on them. We're doing bigger and better things. We won.
Yeah. And yeah, so like I'm obviously leaning right. I do have a bias. I will say that right now. But the thing is I'm still somewhat centered. Like I do believe in some other things on the
Mm-hmm.
left, but and I do have a lot of friends that are on the left that are calling me right now and saying that I am doing things they don't like, and that's okay. And I think eventually that yes, they are somewhat brainwashed because they're believing all these lies. But the thing is that I tell them we'll see. I said, I'll get back to you. If by 2026 none of these things happen, will you consider saying, hey, maybe I was wrong about him the whole time? Maybe I was
Right.
to like get him out of that because I feel bad for them. I feel bad that they're living in fear all the time where they shouldn't. I mean, gosh, we're about to have some of the greatest like economy comeback of all time. So I'm like, hey, maybe I know you're struggling right now. I know you're living in fear, but just look at what's going to happen. All right. If we go to 2025 and 2026 and all the things that you're claiming now doesn't happen, maybe you should reconsider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you think people should do besides like that are so far gone? Do you think they should look at things on their own?
Absolutely. There's one person in my family who, and I said, give us a chance.
Hmm.
Give us a chance. And you know what? If you do get put back in chains, if you do get all your rights stripped away, I was wrong.
Hmm.
I apologize. But that's not going to happen. And so when you've survived a Trump presidency before,
Yeah.
you'll survive one again, and then we'll talk about what comes after that. So give it a chance. You know what? You can
Yeah.
live in fear, that's fine. But when it's all said and done, just be able to say, you know what, I was wrong.
Mhm. Yeah, admitting you're wrong is the first step. And I've been wrong on a lot of things, like before. Like, so, like, again, like, let's say Trump goes absolutely maniac dictatorship. I'll 100% say I'm wrong. But I doubt that'll even happen
Mm-hmm.
because, like, people are saying all the time, it's just like, I keep telling them that, like, we already had 4 years of Trump. Well, 4 years ago, Trump didn't have Project 2025. I'm like, what are you talking about? He had the House, Senate, judicial branch. He had all like full power from 2016 to 2018. He did nothing. So why would he do it again?
Mm-hmm.
But
They're just scared that he'll do to them what they did to him. You
and
jailed them,
that
you shot him, you impeached him, you did all of that, and you think that he's coming back for vengeance. And everything that you did against this man that you know was wrong, you're
mm,
afraid that he's going to do the same thing to you. But there's that double standard.
yeah. And I think that's just Congress people. That's not like ordinary people. He's not going to come after every single person and find every single person that voted for Harris and
Right.
come after him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this ain't going to be the night of the long knives. But the thing is, it's just like maybe it will happen. Maybe it will go after some of these people, very individuals. But I doubt it because again, Look what happened in 2016. He had all the dirt on Hillary. He had so much dirt on Hillary. He could have locked her up right then and there, but he
Yeah.
didn't because he knew that it would divide the country even more.
Hmm.
So, yeah. All right. So my last question for you before you go is some Democrats and Republicans are saying that it actually was a good thing that Trump lost in 2020 because then he didn't have the House or the Senate, but now he's he already has the Senate in 2024. He won and now he's poised to win the House. So do you think that him winning in 2024 was much better than him winning in 2020?
Oh, absolutely. It sealed him to have the greatest political comeback in history.
Mhm.
You lose an election popular vote by 20 million votes. You get blown out in the electoral college, rigged or not. Um, you get shot. You get convicted. You got this mug shot. You mean everything that they can throw against him, they did. And he came back and he won. So honestly, I look at the 2020 thing and I say that's just another hill that we were able to add and say, bam, we defeated that.
Yeah,
You
for
threw you
sure.
threw you threw the book at us and we still won.
Yeah.
Is that so? It's like I'm not, the Black Panther scene where he comes back and he says, I never yielded, and as you see, I am not dead." Right? He came back, and it's the greatest political comeback in American history. Quite frankly, I don't think we'll ever see another one. I don't think we'll see a campaign reach the impact that the Trump campaign did. They say that it got out
Oh,
the bro
oh
vote,
God.
which is just the Gen Z male vote,
Mhm.
and no other campaign has been able to get this many young people out to vote for one candidate. I saw one person saying, Gen Z, I thought better, but of course your racist parents had y'all watching Fox News from the NEO. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. The average male aged 18 to 29, when they saw Trump get shot, they all wanted that image on a shirt because Gen Z, that's what they like, right? He fit the culture, he fit the movement, and that's how he won that vote.
Yeah,
So
for
losing in
sure.
2020, honestly, it was a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing and a curse, and even with that, we still triumphed, and Trump won.
Yeah. And even like I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I've just literally last night saw The Art of the Surge and all the behind the scenes. And as a editing nerd and a behind the scenes fanatic, and I'll make all these documentaries. I make a bunch of documentaries. But just seeing like all the behind the scenes and all the work that was put into it, including the day of July 13th, 2024 on Butler, Pennsylvania. I mean, it was just absolutely insane what has happened. It was
Mm-hmm.
really a wake-up call.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
put the country on notice of where we were and where
Mhm.
we wanted to be.
Yeah. And like you said, I don't think we'll ever see an election cycle like this ever again. Like
Absolutely,
it really was a giant comeback. But yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
The MAGA term was more than a term; it became a movement. The
mm,
MAGA movement, Trumpism, it rose and it succeeded, and I think it'll be here for a very long time now.
yeah, for sure. Whether if that's through JD Vance or Vivek or I don't know, maybe even we see Tulsi Gabbard. I mean,
Even some
who
of
knows?
the Trump kids, Don Jr., Eric
Yeah.
Trump, Barron Trump,
Barron.
Byron Donalds, Wesley Hunt. I mean, the MAGA movement list of powerhouses is just forever. So I'm Trump has left a legacy. He's left a legacy that will never be forgotten, and this is going down in the history books. There's no way you
No
can
way.
rewrite it or
Yeah.
change it.
I mean, at least
Absolutely.
like the shooting and then the thing is like I said, the Art of the Surge literally recorded everything. So
Mm-hmm.
we have everything just open and stuff like that. I guess just continuing on, but do you think one of the biggest questions is do you think he'll release the Epstein list or the Diddy list?
I think we'll release the Epstein list. He hasn't spoke much about the Diddy situation. So, but I think a lot of things will be revealed under the
Mhm.
Trump administration. A lot of files would be just declassified. Maybe we'll get the Diddy party list.
Mhm.
He said Beyonce and Kamala Harris were having a little dance party. They were having a little dance party. So
Beyonce.
maybe we'll, get the list and maybe we'll see what actually happened.
Yeah. And of course, the Epstein list is a huge one as well that people are
Mhm.
talking. And then, JFK. That was one of the biggest things about RFK, having him in control
Yeah.
of, well, not necessarily the CIA, but of course the Food and Health Administration. So we'll see what he does there.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Do you think that the Ukraine war will end soon, or the war in Gaza even?
Well, Gaza's already said they want to end the war after Trump won.
Mhm.
Russia is, bowing down gracefully. We'll see peace in the Middle East. We'll see peace in Europe because of Trump. We'll see it one. We already had it, and we'll see it again.
Mhm. For sure. Well, I got nothing for you the rest of this, but it's been a great honor just to interview you and talk to you. Hopefully maybe we can get Charlie Kirk or all these other great people to join us as well.
Absolutely. Thank
All
you for
right.
having me on. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll keep in touch. We'll see what happens in the future.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.